All right, it's about 10 minutes later. He told me to film. I captured the kids, okay, but I didn't film them. It was because it was obnoxious. I could have continued to film. All right, their fear, their tyranny, and my sovereign territory ain't happening. And why is that? Because the United States has a political leader who talks to communist governments. And because I'm talking about myself, fool, do you want me to say my name? Heidi Granger. Is this a fucking surprise? Because of my position in the government, motherfuckers, you want to laugh at me while I sit on the ground, keep laughing. And think about why I'm in this position and what kind of power I well hold. Because of my position in the government and my political stance on talking to communist governments such as China, China was able to get a stranglehold on countries like South Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, so on and so forth, without despot, tyrannical lunatics such as Saudi Arabia, Donald Trump, Joe Biden, declaring war in Asia again, just to launch a neo-Nazi campaign across Europe and the Middle East and Africa. No and no. All right? There will be no master white race taking over, pretending to sit at talking tables with the brown man. First and foremost, Chinese and black people are not brown and black. They are human beings. Secondly, they have their own political ideologies which they run their governments with. Lastly, do not go into combative conflict warfare with China or Japan without really sending your experts and really seriously having sober negotiations. That's my political policy. Everybody knows it. Because of my power I shall hold. Thank God for China. What I just filmed and what I just saw is classic urban guerrilla warfare of Viet Cong, South Korean terror fucking groups is what you basically are. Flooding Port Angeles because of your computer system and your crack addict fucking white friends littered up and down the street with electronic weapon systems uploaded onto their software, running up and down the street like lunatics, running up and down the piers, therefore all over these Asian computer systems. So what do these terror group fashioned urban guerrilla Viet Cong start doing now? Out of South Korea, out of Japan, they're bringing their kids into my sovereign territory. So that was the kids I filmed, and that's classic Viet Cong. They bring all the kids. That's what they did in Vietnam. All the family, and this is their target, is these lunatics pressing buttons, thinking they are on missions. Okay, but they're doing it in my sovereign territory. And why? Why is this not considered a threat? Because of countries like China, because of countries like Russia. Exactly, not Vladimir Putin's Russia, the USSR, who I thought initially in 2017, let's shout because these women want to come over here and shout too. So we'll all just start shouting. All right, let me talk 5 times louder now into my microphone, okay? Because these women want to come 20 feet from me and start to shout. So let's all just stand here and shout. Maybe they will walk away and shout somewhere else.
Of all the towns, the 3 towns, you got Port Townsend, Swim, and Port Angeles.
Okay.
This is by far the most liberal.
In 2017, I initially thought the USSR was the white nationalists attacking. Okay, I didn't have the proper information. It's all on historical document. No, the USSR, communist Soviet Russia, was not attacking us. It was Vladimir Putin trying to make a new Russia, which is all historically on record. Okay, and he was launching a neo-Nazi campaign with Trump, with Biden. We know the story. And he had his little favorite Jewish people. He had his neo-Nazi, it's really hard to say it, but yes, his neo-Nazi Netanyahu. He had Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump and Joe Biden had their neo-Nazi Gwendolyn Ball, Jewish Islamic terrorist, who I witnessed die in 1509 S Street Northwest because of her terrorism, because of her weapons manufacturing. All right, she was Jewish. So they have their selected Zelenskys. he claims to be Jewish. It's some sort of psych warfare. I still can't quite grapple with how they're picking and choosing who not, N-O-T, to ethnically cleanse. That's all that Trump, Biden, Putin ever intended to do. Okay? So no, the USSR, Soviet red flag was not launching a neo-Nazi planned attack on my sovereign territory. No. When that happened, when they started attacking from within their own ranks, the U.S. Armed Services started attacking other enlisted military members within their own military. That is at the point in time that Donald Trump lost all legitimate power over the U.S. Armed Services. At that point in time, I came along. By a handful of years, these guys gave me the job as president or something like that. That is what I'm going back to Washington, D.C. for. It has been 10 years. I have earned the job. I'm comfortable with it, okay? I'm comfortable with that. All right? Now, if people want to come here and start screaming and standing by me, we just have to let them, but I will have to start shouting into my microphone. It's up to them. All right, if they want to keep it in normal volumes, I don't have to shout. Here, they're standing right here. Let's film them. They're not shouting though, so I appreciate that. Okay, so, all right. Because of my political stance, all right, with not refusing to negotiate with communist countries, USSR, Communist Republic of China. China has had more power to be able to deal with South Korea, to be able to deal with Kim Jong out of North Korea, to be able to deal with Japan. Japan was monolithically a threat in a military perspective. There's nothing someone like me, a politician, can do about Japan. It takes skill that I don't have. And you have to negotiate with these communist countries in order to even approach that with the experts. If you have a political leader that's refusing to send out their military experts to talk in sober conversations with communist military advisors, then you're going to get nowhere. Okay, now we're shouting. Now we're standing by me and shouting. Please don't do it. Okay, so because yeah, you heard me for 10 years. I kept saying, go ahead, do this, do that. Yes, it's all on. You could review the last years of this in the compound in Washington, D.C. when I was 15 minutes on foot from the White House. I kept saying that. Cooperate with China, cooperate with the GRU out of Russia. They are not Putin's GRU. Go ahead. Rewrite the Constitution. Go ahead. So, all right, because of these sorts of things coming out of some of your political class, you have a political class in the United States still. You do. I'm one of them. Let's film them. They want to stand here. Go ahead. All right, so you still have some legitimate political class in the United States, okay? With legitimate political power, okay? I'm one of them. Okay, because of my stance with giving the clearance for some communist countries to handle military threats such as Japan, such as South Korea, such as Cambodia, such as Vietnam. Vietnam was on the verge again. How did that happen? Because of Triad, because of the Asian mafia. Vietnam was in turmoil. The only way to handle these countries trying to repeat history again is to be negotiable with a country like China. They were trying to isolate, you can see with what I listed out, they were trying to get together in Asia and attack the communist country of China to take land grab. But they were doing it on the dinner plate, on the menu. Who's paying for dinner? You going out to dinner, who's paying for the dinner? The United States of America was. we're weaponizing, militarizing Taiwan, all these countries. We had Pelosi going over there. She doesn't have any legitimate power. Saying Taiwan's a victim, all this, giving them all of our guns and bombs. We did it with Ukraine. Why was that? To keep attacking China, to keep attacking Russia. And the whole time I'm saying, nope, negotiate, work with them. I didn't do that when I was in England because I thought that they were attacking us. I know, it's on record. You can see, but I figured it out. At the point in time I figured it out, I was in the Capitol, and that's when I started getting the job. They started giving me the job as president, or however they quantify me. So when I go back to the Capitol, I'm not going away. It's still me. I'm still around. Exactly, which is good for the United States. They need an American. They need somebody. It's me. I'm thrilled to do it. I just need to feel comfortable with it. Okay, so I do. There's some things I don't feel comfortable with. My sex, being a female doing this. But I will get over my fears and talk to my colleagues and slowly become more comfortable with the fact that I'm a woman doing this, because I do have my fears about that. It's just fear, but it's there and it's very real. Okay, so anyways, because of China putting the beat down and stomping countries like South Korea, they're bad, they're a big problem. And countries like Japan, who are operating as terrorists, like the Viet Cong on historical record operated as. They had their whole town, their kids, their wives, everybody in the village attacking our U.S. troops. They just walked through here. It's the whole thing again, and you can see it. I should have filmed it. They have the classic man right behind all the kids and the women. He's out for war. He's doing urban guerrilla warfare in my sovereign territory. No, I don't like that. No, neither do my military guys. No, you can't be doing that anymore in my country, bringing the whole family in to do that. Now, their targets are these lunatics at the Legion, at the Ukraine Mob Cafe, at that terror complex recovery cafe. Their targets are the sheriff's department here. Their targets go up and up and up. The U.S. cooping military, they're really pissed. So they're bringing in their Asian terror group. Remember I said that? They'd bring in the terror group. When they have the kids, it's kind of low scale, but it's not. When you're dealing with Asians, such as the Viet Cong, these women want to stand over there and start to shout, make me have to shout. When you're dealing with Asians who are militarized, who are out for war, they're out for blood, they want to cause urban armed conflict, guerrilla warfare, that's why they're around you, they'll start conducting themselves as terror groups. Terrorists don't just come from the Middle East. Okay? Some of the modern historical warfare of terrorism started in Vietnam. The Middle Eastern terror groups didn't really arise until the 70s after Vietnam. They started to become really bad over there. When you saw the Iran and all these hostage takings and airplanes beginning to blow up in our world history, modern world history. So what they're doing now is they're bringing in all their Asian children with their very mean, angry Asian dad walking behind them, and they're conducting themselves in guerrilla warfare. This is not okay. I am saying something. It must be stopped. I'm allowing China to handle it. This cannot happen here in Port Townsend. They can't be so mad at these lunatics that they're bringing in their kids and conducting this kind of Viet Cong style guerrilla warfare in Port Townsend. Period. End of story. All right, bye.